Bag, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, I'm trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of our presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a permission permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Welcome, Black B1AG family. This is John Henry Harrison. I say a former Brown EMC, and this is the Daily Bread podcast. Here at B1AG, we focus on Black agriculture and the aspects of agriculture production, education, marketing, health, food, nutrition, and economics for the Black family and the Black community. Salutations. What's up? How you doing? Grand Rising. Hope your day is going well. Hope you're feeling blessed and prosperous today. We have a great story for you today and a great discussion. Today's discussion, it really centers around Boosie. Now, we all know the controversial rapper Boosie. He was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and he's definitely no stranger to controversy, altercations, and pretty much all things ratchet. I'm just going to be honest. That's Lil Boosie, love him to death. However, in his latest interview with DJ Vlad, he actually revealed about how going to prison changed his views on ownership and value. Now, when I say ownership, I'm talking about land ownership. You know, at the time Boosie was skyrocketing to mainstream success, and then he was arrested on October 22nd, 2008, when the deputies found marijuana and a gun in his car. Now, heading toward the height of his success, he was arrested and ended up getting sentenced to 8 years in state prison, Angola, and actually was on death row. He made it off of death row, released on March 5th, 2014, and remained on parole until 2018. Now, once he got off of parole, this is when he put his plan that he hatched in prison to motion. And today, that's what we're going to talk about. We'll talk about Lil Boosie, who says, buy land, not designer, and how prison taught Boosie the value of land ownership. Now, this is going to be a great discussion. I hope you enjoy it. Please like, share, subscribe. You can go find us on YouTube at B1AG Daily Bread Podcast. We also stream on the blackbosschannel.com, and that's on YouTube and Facebook. So, Farmer Brown EMC, what can you tell us about Boosie and his land ownership? Because it's becoming more. It's a lot of our entertainers and rappers seem like they're riding this trend and changing the conversation.
When I step off in the room, it's a full moon. First, I just like to say peace to the B1 family. This was a beautiful story to me. It's actually been a lot of other conversations. We're going to dig in deeper as far as this concept of not only just melanated people across the land, but particularly celebrities. I don't know if it's like a wave of information that's starting to resonate, or maybe it has. And I think my respect for Lil Boosie has gone up like 100% I've always liked his music. Any of us that's gone in the clubs down south can appreciate when one of Boosie's songs come on. But I'm really hoping that the people, especially within our generation, that look to Boosie as a cultural icon, not only follow the swag piece of what Torrence adds to the game, but what he's talking about as far as wealth building. Right now in North America, we just had this discussion about Juneteenth, and I think there's a significant amount of melanated people that aren't really necessarily satisfied with just getting the holiday. People are talking tangibles. A lot of numbers have been floated around, talking about tangibles in the form of reparative justice, reparations, cutting a check. Numbers have been thrown around. I've heard anywhere from 3 trillion to 17 trillion to repair the damages of discrimination and what we'll call shadow slavery in North America. But right now in North America, total, the land of North America, and this is the 1.9 billion acres, 2 billion if you're including Alaska and Hawaii, is $23 trillion. $23 trillion. This is the value of the land of North America. On average, that breaks down to about 12,000 per acre. This is value. Not to be confused with how much you can buy land for, which is another thing we're going to discuss during this podcast. So right now, prime acreage specifically for farmland in North America is going about between 3,500, 4,000 an acre. Like I said, the value of it when you're looking at a whole broader scheme is about 12,000 per acre. In a good production operation, you can get up to from 790 to a few thousand per acre, depending on what you're producing. There's the beauty of it is there's no one fixed way that you can profit off of your land. I mean, you're talking about hunting. You're talking about there's different conservation programs. Some people just buy land for people to run their four-wheelers. These are things you can charge. We think about people like Morgan Freeman. He has a honeybee sanctuary. Some people run livestock. Your horses, it makes me think of Jay Prince. Some people are just growing crops. We were discussing how a lot of the diets are going to plant-based. And there's many more, but saying that to say, don't just look like at a plot of land like, okay, this is a lot of grass. Land is where the value was. Land was the original thing that attracted that which controls the dynamics around the land. But as we have this conversation, like I said, I think the message is becoming it's becoming more prevalent. And, my hope is that it goes viral.
Amen to that. Now, going back to Boosie, when he was in prison in 2008, he actually had to lose his $1 million home because due to foreclosure, to pay for lawyers and reorganize and everything. So he lost his $1 million home. So he became determined to not ever have them take from him again. So Boosie, who also, just as a side note, has 8 children by 6 different women and is the main wage earner in his entire family. So Boosie took it upon himself. In 2018, he purchased 44 acres of land for a little over $300,000. Now, that's a lot of money, but he gets 44 acres of land. Now, the couple that bought those 44 acres of land, they actually purchased that same land for almost $1 million. But they were going through a divorce. So Boosie got those 44 acres for the low, for a third of the price. Now, he then built his home on that 44 acres, right? Now, he had $1 million home before he went to prison and had a mortgage. He spent $2.3 million building his new home on his 44 acres, which includes pools, basketball court, zip lines, all these amenities. Because again, he has 8 kids. So he wants to he basically built an estate for him and his family and his kids, so they would never have their home taken from them again. And that's exactly his main words during the interview, is that they will never take from me again. That's empowerment. That's freedom. And it's also more practical because, I mean, think about it. You know, from the beginning of hip hop, most of these rappers, all they talked about was, you know, boastful, materialistic rhymes about, you know, their chain or what kind of car they're driving or what kind of clothes they're wearing. And this is pretty much still a big part of hip hop and rap. However, there has been a recent change, a groundswell of artists and rappers talking about the empowerment and importance of land ownership. And here at B1AG, we love to tell you we advocate agriculture, farming, and gardening, in which land and land ownership is a key component of that. And not only for agriculture, but for social economic freedom, as well as securing generational wealth. It just makes sense. So, Farm Brian, do you want to go to the first video of Little Boosie?
Yes.
Now, this is the Little Boosie coming from his own mouth. Y'all check it out.
And I just like to say while you cueing the video, and so my family's from Clinton, Louisiana, East Feliciana Parish, Amite, and this is, you know, a few miles east of Baton Rouge. And, you know, one of my things that got me passionate about even getting into agriculture is learning my family history, learning what we come from. We come from commercial farmers. Oddly enough, peace to the brother Dane Calloway, a lot of the family members I talked to, the elders really didn't talk about slavery. They talked about, you know, when our families were running, you know, operations, commercial crops. We'll touch on that after this video.
Look at this shit, man. Ain't nothing. All y'all young niggas out there, nigga, go get y'all some land. Get you a big ass estate, man. Something a nigga can't never take from you, man. Stop paying rent to these suckers. Get your own piece of land, man. Live, man. Untouchable, nigga. Stop paying these motherfuckers rent, nigga. Go get you a big old piece of land, nigga. Ain't gonna never lose value. Build you a castle, nigga.
Our family, the Bakers, Claibornes, Brumfields, you know, we have a lot of different names in the family, had up to 40 Selders, had up to 40 acres at a time in southern Louisiana. It's down to about 10 now total. I got like 50, you know, cousins within my layer, and then all of us got kids. And so, you know, like he's talking about having land to pass down. You know, I'm not one to throw shade on the elders. You know, the elders had a whole different, you know, dynamic that they had to deal with. But, you know, one of the things, once you get information, once you know better, you got to show better. I'm nowhere near where I should be as far as being able to pass down land to my children. But I understand, like Boosie says, okay, the outfit that I will get to turn up at a club, this is property taxes. When you think about his 44 acres, just for example. And so, you know, watching this, it's easy to get hyped like, man, you know, I'm going to go get land today. But we got to be practical. Where is the arable farmland? You don't want to just get a lot of land with a lot of rocks, a lot of unusable trees, a lot of hills, no water access, no use, because now you just, you know, you just have land versus really thinking it out, you know, getting the operation. So say in Boosie's situation where he has 44 acres. So think if you were working in a cooperative effort. Cooperative meaning you have multiple people going in on a plot of land. And so say, okay, maybe one individual ain't just going to come up off of 300,000, but that breaks down to about 6,800 amongst 44 different families. And so 44 different families basically say, okay, I got 6,800 to put on an acre on this large plot. When you're talking about cooperative economics, you think about equipment. okay, it ain't like we got to get 44 different tractors since we see we're not going to get our mule in our 40 acres. And so what we're going to do is flip our own 40 acres, go in on some tractors, go in on some tools, go in on some seeds, because when you're shopping together, everything comes cheaper. Like you said, we're losing 30,000 acres of land a year, and it's actually more than that now. But some very practical strategies. You don't have to live on the land. The concept is buying some land that's arable, buying some land where you can put operations on them, where it isn't just land you're going to pass down. This is land that's producing something, producing produce, raising livestock, building structures, nature reserves, nature sanctuaries, hiking places. So there's a lot of different uses for land. And so the degree that we can get, because, people that already know, this isn't about preaching to the choir. I see ourselves as more of some mosquitoes, just reminding you buy land. And that's why, I'm hyped when I saw this story about Boosie, and then even recently Kanye. If you got that video real quick. The word is getting around. You get the Kanye video. He was asked the question, have you turned your back on the culture? This is what his response.
Torrence. We want to spend all our money on luxury as opposed to going and buying some land. America is for sale, and there's a lot of barren land. Disney bought a lot of it in Florida.
Y'all are hearing the same. Y'all are hearing the same sentiment coming from Kanye West, coming from Boosie, but there are also other artists that are really putting out there, hey, I'm buying this land. This is where it's at. Pay attention, y'all.
TD Jakes. Who else?
Okay, now you have Tyler Perry, and this is all this this week. This is all news that came out this week. Tyler Perry and TD Jakes, they are partnering up to separately buy 132 acres at Fort McPherson, which is a abandoned U.S. Army base in Atlanta. Now, Tyler Perry, he reached a deal about 40 acres at Fort McPherson to expand his movie studios. And separately, mega church pastor TD Jakes, he struck a deal to acquire about 95 of the remaining acres, in which he wants to pursue his own development project in affordable and workforce housing. So the people are making really big moves when it comes to buying land. They see the power of buying land. We've had these stories that we talk about here on a lot, especially with Bill Gates and his huge land purchase. And then you have Jeff Bezos. They're not the only ones. We see our melanated peoples are seeing the writing on the wall, and they are making good on making sound decisions. And also, like, we think about Rick Ross. This was another story that came out this week. Rick Ross, who bought Evander Holyfield's old mansion, it sits on 250 acres. Now, the upkeep of the land costs about $1 million a year. That's just to cut the grass. So what Rick Ross did is actually he went and bought a tractor and he cuts his own grass and has found solitude and peace in cutting his own grass. Now you think about this. This Rick Ross, he's been a great businessman and everything, but he still remains frugal. And this is what he had to say. This is Rick Ross. When I bought the Fayetteville estate, locals would see me walk out of a restaurant and scream, Holyfield spent $1 million a year to cut the grass. So I decided I was going to cut my own grass, and that's what I did. He said he went and purchased the best, most efficient tractor from John Deere, along with the right attachments, spent 2 hours to get the tractor to work, and jumped on it. He said when he finally did manage to get the machine up and running, he says that he went to cut the grass for about 5 hours. And in doing that, he realized that this was something that he wanted to do. It was subconscious. I bought a tractor that is enclosed and it's air conditioning and a radio. I had the windows tinted so I wouldn't cause too much confusion with the traffic right next to the estate. People still know it's me, but when I get in the tractor, it's a whole other level of peace, a whole other level of connecting with the estate and the animals and birds and the wildlife. See, it's not even at this point, it's beyond a financial purchase or it's a shrewd business move. This is about mental health. This is about security, generational wealth. This is about connecting with Mother Nature. There are a lot of intrinsic value that comes along with land ownership, gardening, farming, participating in agriculture. You know, it's about more than money. It's about a lot more than money.
Bro, I was looking at a podcast the other day with Dane Calloway and Chingy, the rapper Chingy, right there. And they were just talking about how he found out about his Cherokee roots. He found out that he was an Aboriginal, you know, he comes from Aboriginal melanated, what we call Americans. I say that to say, you know, there's this wave of consciousness going on right now. And I will be remiss to say, like, hey, we're aware that there's this wave of consciousness, just like Bill Gates is aware that there's this wave of consciousness, which is driving, hey, as they're waking up, because there's a power in truth, y'all. There's a power in truth. This one thing I'm fighting, and I'm running backwards. I can be the fastest runner, but if I'm running backwards, I'm not going to get the finish line. And if I get the finish line first, I went backwards, so I didn't win. But when we're connected to the land is what we come from. This doesn't mean you're tree huggers. This doesn't mean you're out in the woods singing Kumbaya, which isn't a bad idea when we got all of this division right now. But this is when you have power. What is America driven by, family? It's driven by power. When we think of food, what do humans eat food for? We eat it for power. And so the degree is beautiful that we're seeing celebrities or people, you know, I'm not a person that believes in celebrity worship, but you understand the value of, say, Rick Ross talking about, hey, you know, I'm ripping stages around the world. I done seen money from doing all of this, but I'm finding my peace and solace cutting his yard. We think about Kwame Brown, right? You know, we hear the jokes, we hear the talk and everything mama's cooking, but the man is on a tractor. You know, we're getting all of these signals. Kanye, he's a billionaire, one of the first rappers to become a billionaire. And he's talking about land. And so to me, it's like these signals that are being thrown. And so us as the viewers, us as the consumers, you know, what are the action items we're taking in all of our respective communities? What I got going on here in Kentucky may be different than somebody in New York, say different than, say, somebody in Cali. Right now, I'm hearing Tariq Nasheed talking about, you know, utilizing his resources to put some crowdfunding together to get some land to build a museum. But the thing is, we're seeing this discussion about, you know what, I'm sick of leasing from these people for them people to raise the price on me out of nowhere. I'm sick of renting. Why don't I just go in my pocket and buy this? Like I said earlier, obviously all of us can't just go in the bag and have $1 million sitting in the bank, but this is the best time to visit cooperative economics. Cooperative economics is actually as ancient as our ancestors on this turtle island. Some people call it Susu economics. A lot of the people coming from Central America, even some African nations, do this by nature anyway. Hey, it's going to be 10. All 10 of us got a great idea. Instead of all 10 of us trying to go out on our own and make it look like, oh, I got it by myself, we gonna get us like 2 cars, cram ourselves in these cars, go get this bag, bring it back to the pot. Year 1, we're going to fund one person's business idea. Year 2, we're going to come back, do the same thing, fund business 2. After you get this process going, okay, maybe we can fund 2 or 3 different people's projects. What I'm talking about as far as buying land, okay, we got 44 families, and I'm just using Boosie's model as an example. I mean, you can do this based on where you're at and what you have to work with. We have X amount of families that all agree we want to get some land, something that we own cooperatively, and something that can be passed down later. We want it in production. Where I live at, am I in Ohio? Am I in the Southeast? Am I in the Southwest? What do people eat here? People eat a lot of sweet potatoes. Blam. We're going to allocate 1/4 of this acreage to sweet potatoes. What else is it that people eat? Oh, greens. Okay, what is the equipment necessary? What are the facilities necessary to grow greens year round? We talking about high tunnels. Okay, you're gonna spend between 8,000, 16,000 for a good high tunnel. Okay, we want a couple of these so we can make sure we can produce all year round. Not only is this supplying the diet of whoever's investing, the respective communities that these people come from, but you now have a product. You're now making your land productive. This 1.9 billion acres in North America that's worth 23 trillion. Because we see once again as a melanated family going to the people that just want to give us these holidays, they're not coming up off of that bag easily. And so my thing is never in my lifetime have we had as much capital, as much information, as much knowledge, as many people waking up like we are right now to what is this game board we find ourselves on. We find ourselves on this huge gold mine that we've been told, oh, you know, to get out there, that's slave work. Oh, to get out there, oh, that's something that somebody else does. You should run to the factories. You should run to the cities. I'm all with our kids learning coding, but are they coding apps? Are they coding programs that's going to help these families, these cooperatives, these networks that's going in on all this land? On subject, but off. I was watching a brother the other day, and they were showing this technology where they were basically watching a trap house. These and the law enforcement was basically just sitting in the office laughing about it. They have technology to it gauges frequency of I'm going to here, you know, there's X amount of traffic going to this one location. You're able to do it through a device. I'm not here to say yay, I'm not here to say nay, more so than hey, something is codified and wanting to make sure that the melanated family stays in a place. Obviously, everybody's not out selling dope, you know, so that's not what I'm coming from. Everybody's not doing bad, so I'm not coming from that. But collectively, we're in a system that has placed us as secondary. You know, it's not saying we're victims. We're as much victims as whoever's losing. I haven't been keeping up with the playoffs, but whoever's losing, that's where we're at right now. We haven't lost, and we're actually in a good position to run this thing back. And the degree that we're able to see ourselves as a team, not just kumbaya, not just, oh yeah, we all see the world the same, but like Boosie said, land always appreciates in value. Once we got land, then we can sit around a powwow and decide what we're going to call ourselves, how we're going to run our culture, but you have to have some land to sit on. Here at B1AG, we very, land and all of that and real estate is one thing, but we're trying to focus on how are we producing, because we see that there are a lot of efforts going on of people wanting to buy this land to produce what we're going to eat versus us taking the initiative collectively. Like I said, there's a lot of brothers and sisters out here, peace to the Better Buggy. There's a lot of brothers and sisters out here already doing this work. So how do we amplify it? The WHANLAB, something was made there. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say what it was, but it amplified around the world. It went viral, and it had a multi-trillion-dollar impact on planet Earth. Can we take that same thing in this laboratory of the melanated mind and make this concept of reconnecting us to the land go viral? Can we make it go viral in such a way that the young people watching are like, oh man, you know what? I don't need Versace. I'm not going to go give Coogee or whoever this money. And see, I don't even know what the big names are no more. I'm not going to go give all of them this money because I'm the money. And I'm going to expand myself, right? My mind is where the money is. And this is where we need our young people to see themselves as. Okay, you got somebody like Kanye in 2020 bought all of this land in Wyoming. Kanye's going to get old one day. You think about the Donda West Foundation. A lot of these brothers, I think Rick Ross has one, Master P. A lot of these brothers have efforts to engage the community, right? And, it's not pocket watching more so than, hey, let us identify the resources within our community that already exists versus, beating up each other over the head versus, perpetuating this crabs in a bucket mentality of well, if you get big, I ain't going to get big. No, we already got people putting in the work. So how do we first support those that's putting in the work? And second, train. If you don't like the word train, educate, inform those to follow behind to make this work better. B12. How do we add the B12 of this dope movement that's going on now of these icons within our community getting into land?
Now going back to Lil Boosie, Boosie rather. Initially coming out of prison, well, in 2018, he bought 44 acres. Then he bought 15 acres that was adjacent to his land for a little over $70,000. And then at the time of this DJ Vlad interview, he was purchasing an additional 15 acres, again, adjacent to his 44 acres for $180,000. So that brings his land total to about 75 acres. His home built from scratch, no mortgage, paid for outright on 75 acres. Again, I'm saying this not to disparage Boosie, but just looking what he came from prison. He had his home, $1 million home taken from him. He vowed that that will never happen to him again. He has 8 children. He has land and has a great start on building generational wealth. He's not just talking about buying jewelry or cars or things like that, or even just designer clothes. And what I would like to show our audience is exactly a discussion that Boosie and DJ Vlad had as far as land ownership and designer clothes. Because it's now you're hearing this from 2 rich individuals, you know, so I hope that you all listen to this and take heed.
So what you did, you set up a situation where you can't get your house taken from you, no matter what. No matter what. As long as you pay your property taxes.
Yeah, your property taxes, but that's that's the damn outfit.
Right. Right.
So
now
I always tell the youngsters when they come to my crib, I tell them, man, get you some land, bro. You know, I tell them what you spend on designer a year, you could have had you 10, 15 acres when you think about it, you know. And once you put that on the gram, you can't even wear it anymore. So I always tell them that. I always you just think about how much Versace and shit you done bought this whole year. You know, that could have been, and I hope they be taking it from me. You know, that I stack a lot of money like that, you know, not spending money on all those clothes, merch, you know, right now. $15 t-shirt on, you know, $20 cargos, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I like designer. I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm like that myself, but
yeah, but it's times for it, and and it's levels to it.
Right.
You know, you can't have $50,000 wearing designer every day, or you'll never get past 100.
Yeah, I mean, I have designer pieces that I wear, but I'm not always on the gram, so I don't feel like, oh, I can't wear this shit again. All my
design, I wear them bitches 3-4 times.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna wear my shit 3-4 times.
I'm gonna wear my shit 40-50 times. Like, you know? But at the end of the day, it all comes down. I mean, listen, if you're worth millions, you could buy a designer, it's not a big deal. If you're worth thousands, you shouldn't be in the fucking designer store.
If you're worth thousands, you shouldn't be in a designer store like that. If you're worth millions
at all,
you can do that. You know, you can do that. Like it's not affecting your pockets like that.
Yep.
But if you got 50,000 and you spend 5,000 on a fit, you'll never get there. Every weekend you spend 4,000 or 5,000 on a fit, you'll never get there.
Nah, absolutely not. And you know, when I was broke, I looked broke. You know, and when I got rich, I looked rich. I mean, it's really just like that. You know, I didn't try to fake it. I didn't try to, you know, do a bunch of crazy shit and extend myself. But once I got money and you could go and buy whatever you want, then yeah, of course. I mean, I like being fresh just like everybody else. But at the end of the day, You know, it's funny how many people have ended up in prison over these PPP loans. And when you look at what they spent the money on, designer clothes, cars, a house that got seized, you know, they ball out for a couple months with a bunch of shit that they can't take with them. And they end up going to prison over that shit.
There it is. You heard it. And an important thing that Boosie said at the end of another interview was, you better get your 40 acres in your mule. You better get your land before anything. Like, again, this is Boosie, formerly known as Lil Boosie, Boosie Badass. You know, before he was sent to prison, even after, you know, flashing a lot of money, always buying cars and things like that. He still does that. However, he made sure to secure his security first. And his security came in the form of 75 acres, building his land up and his home up from the ground level, paying out for it with cash. And he is now owner. They can't take it from him like they did before. His kids will always have somewhere to stay. No matter what happens to him, his family has somewhere to stay. Not just his kids, but I'm talking about his family. He's the main wage earner for his entire family. And he's made a way that he can always care for them. And this is where our mind state, or everyone's mind state, needs to be. Again, he said, if you got $50,000, you have no business in the designer store because you'll never reach 100. We have to know what's real value, what appreciates in value, what's really important, and what depreciates. And clothes definitely are not something valuable to the point where to go broke buying it. You can't eat a Versace shirt. You can't eat some Louis or Gucci slides when you're hungry. And if you do get a chance to sell it back, you'll never get back what you paid for. So, Farmer Brown, you got any closing words talking about this land ownership?
Follow the money. Follow the money. It looks like the money's going to land. Like we said, we know the average melanated person is the melanated family is losing 30,000 acres a year. There's 1.9 billion acres in the lower 48 states of North America. You heard it from Kanye's mouth. America's for sale. It was stolen, and now the people that stole it is selling it. And I think, mathematically speaking, we got a better chance of buying land than waiting for the faction that stole it to give it back to us. We saw with this farmer socially disadvantaged Farmers of Color Act, it got halted. That's another ball that's going to get kicked down the road for X amount of years, X amount of decades. Right now, we're in a situation where we have capital. There are some smart sisters and brothers around this what we call nation right now that know what to do with some land. Unfortunately, some of the best farmers I've met, just in my journey over the last 10 years, don't have much money. Don't have much money because they've spent it on legal fees. They've been spent it trying to make their operation work without any help from a central government. I was looking at a brother on Facebook the other day. He's out of North Carolina. I just thought it was real interesting. He's a melanated brother. And he was like, yay, I just got my first black customer in 7 years. And he sells microgreens. I think he has carrots. He has a nice variety of produce. But he was like, wow, I got my first black customer in 7 years. And this is a brother. It's a B1 brother. And so, when he said that, it just hit me. We have that same dynamic here in Kentucky. You have a lot of farmers that really, what can I do to help the community? But then you realize, okay, the only people shopping with me is the other group. A farmer is not necessarily looking at color. He's looking at, I have a product I'm able to produce this product, and now I need a market. You know, I go to the bros. What does Sam Cooke say? Brother, help me, please. Then he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. We have to learn from the lessons of history. We didn't get here by accident, and we didn't get here overnight. Literally, the degree that we can reverse this trend of not supporting one another. Like I said, we all eat. You might not want to buy my CD or my stream or whatever it is we sell to each other, but we all have to eat. There's no east side, west side, north south version of fresh produce, because it's needed on all sides where we reside across this land. Like I said, the intellect already exists to maximize these operations. And it's just a matter of continuing this conversation. Like I said, I couldn't have asked for a better proponent of this than Lil Boosie or Rick Ross. I mean, Rick Ross, what he said, just talking about the piece that he feels on his tractor, you know, what there are environmental organizations, and I've worked with some of them. They get millions of dollars a year to try to say this same message, and you might hit about 10,000 across the country. Rick Ross had at least 1 million individuals that saw what he said. You know, how they internalize it, you know, that's another story. But saying that to say, we the business, you know, we have power beyond what we're able to understand, but it's only when we're able as a community, as the viewers, as the consumers, it's only when we're able to take action items around this brilliance that we have. And those action items being, first of all, supporting those who already have something going on, not only teaching ourselves, but teaching our youth, our younger people, to be able to maximize on these opportunities. And then, you know, for seeing in the future, when we're talking about investments and crypto and whatever this future holds, how are we making sure that we have a place in it? How does land and crypto tie together? I mean, it seems abstract now, but there was a time that our ancestors like, now, how would you be separate from the land? We find ourselves in 2021 where a lot of us don't even know the value of land. And so, like I said, I was very pleased to hear this conversation with Boosie, as well as Rick Ross. You know, in a non-religious sense, TD Jakes, he's an influencer. He influences tens of thousands, millions of melanated people. Tyler Perry, through Medea, has influenced millions of melanated people. And so I'm hoping these business moves that these gentlemen and women are making, because we didn't really represent the sisters who's doing this as well. But I'm hoping that people are really picking up on this wave. I'm hoping we're able to seize the moment. We have a small window of opportunity. We see the nefarious crew is they're not getting any sleep, trying to figure out, now, okay, these people are waking up. How do I euthanize this sleeping giant of the melanated community? And so it's up to us to wake us up.
Stay woke. Everybody, I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. Here at B1AG, we are great and huge proponents, advocates of growing your own food. Let's get black to the garden. Sign up at healthyblackfood.com, and we will teach you how to grow your own food. Healthyblackfood.com. Let's get black to the garden. If you have any questions or you would like to show off what you're growing, just hit us up at b1aghiphop@gmail.com. Let us see what you got going. Let us see what you have growing on. And Farmer Brown, at the end of the day, if the people really want to know something, what do they need to do?
If you really want to know something, learn how to grow something.
Oh,
Wow.
as my boy Rick Ross would say. Y'all have a great day.
I got $1 million in the duffel bag.
Yes, sir. And that equals up to a lot of land on the back end. Hey, y'all, be prosperous. I hope y'all feel the love today. Give somebody a high five, give somebody a hug, give them a kiss on the cheek. You know, spread love, prosperity, and receive this abundance and look forward to this great harvest. Stay in a growth state of mind. Hey, I'm John Henry Harris, Farmer Brown MC, and see you next time on the Daily Red Podcast. Peace out.